Banahene Tutorial Collections welcomes you to another Microsoft Excel tutorials. I had a comment from a cherished viewer and also a subscriber in my community that says, is there any shortcut to link all the checkboxes cells all at once? Cause it is very time consuming if we start to link cells one by one. And this comment is based on this video that I have posted on my channel on how to use checkboxes in Microsoft Excel, that is Checkboxes interactivity, and I positively replied, appreciate your comment, we can do that. There will be a video reply to your comment, so stay tuned. So this particular video that I'm going to produce is based on this comment from this cherished viewer. Now that we have this comment, how can we insert checkboxes and also link them at once to their individual cells? So let's dive into our Excel worksheet. Now this is an Excel worksheet or data set, and I have all these columns available, which are employee ID, employee name, phone number, hourly wage, hours worked, salary, paid or unpaid option, and also to find their status. Now this particular data is well organized and manipulated, therefore it can be used to perform so many tasks or operations, and this is about employee information. I'm going to use this particular data set to answer the question that was asked by our cherished viewer. But before then, you are welcome to Banahene Tutorial Collections, and on this channel we provide videos on Microsoft Office apps, computer techniques, creative ideas in the information communication technology, and we explore in different kinds of softwares. Now when you get access to this channel, I'll urge you to focus on these tabs that we have here. We have the home tab, videos, shorts, playlists, and community. Home tab will always be the default tab selected, and that is going to show you recent uploaded videos or for you videos. And also when you scroll down, we have other videos here, that is popular videos, short videos. And to get access to the long form videos, you click on the videos tab, and this displays all videos that have been uploaded from current to the old videos. You can also filter out using the popular and the oldest tab to also get access to other videos. You can click on short videos, then you have short videos you can watch. You can also click on playlists, and you have access to a bunch of playlists. I have categorized all my videos according to different kinds of playlists. We have OneNote tutorials, Word, Windows, we have email. All these are playlists, and if you want to watch videos on specific softwares, move to the playlist tab and click on any of these playlists and watch your favorite and educative videos. Now back to this video. All these column headers have their data below it except the last two columns, which are paid and unpaid option, and also the status. This column we are going to insert some checkboxes, and anytime we click on any of the checkboxes, we want to have their status displayed in these cells under the status column, and the status that we want to have would be yes or no option, and that is going to appear whenever we click on a checkbox that is being inserted to these cells below the paid and also the unpaid option. Now how can we insert checkboxes into our worksheet in Microsoft Excel? We move to the menu bar, and we have all these tabs available. We are going to utilize a particular tab which is currently not available on this menu bar. What we can do is to right click on any of these tabs that we have here, and then we have these two options, customize the ribbon and also collapse the ribbon. Let's choose customize the ribbon. This provides you with this Excel options dialog box, and now currently this customized ribbon is selected, and I move to this right side. We have this main tabs option, and we have this tab that is developer tab. Currently this is on check. I'm going to click on this checkbox to activate this tab, then click on OK. Now back to our interface of Microsoft Excel, and on the menu bar we can see that this developer tab is activated. Let's click on this, and then in these options we have a group called controls group out of this ribbon of the developer tab, because in this ribbon we have the code group, add-ins, controls, and XML group. We are going to utilize the controls group, and this is where we are going to insert our checkboxes. And the command that we are going to choose in this particular group is the insert command. When you click on it, you have this drop down list, and we have these two options: form controls, which has its individual commands, and also we have the ActiveX controls that also contain its individual commands. In the form controls, we have this button that is checkbox. You can see that there is a box and also a check mark in the middle of the checkbox. So we click once, and that gives us this plus symbol to draw our checkbox. So we are going to draw the first checkbox in the first cell under the paid and also the unpaid option. So I'm going to click and draw. Now when you are drawing, make sure that you leave a little space after the checkbox so that we can use our fill handle and copy all the checkboxes to the other individual cells. So you can see that we have this checkbox drawn. You can click and position it well based on your preference. In this checkbox, we have some default text, which is checkbox. I am going to double click, and you have the cursor in this option, and you can use the delete key on the keyboard because we are deleting from the left to the right of this checkbox. If you don't use this option, you can also select the checkbox, then you right click on the checkbox, and we have edit text. And when you do so, you also have the cursor blinking, and you can delete this particular text. Now you can click as well in this worksheet. Now we have our first checkbox activated in our worksheet. If you place your pointer on the checkbox or the border around the checkbox, you get this link select icon. But when you move a bit aside of this checkbox, then we have this icon which can help us to select the cell in which this checkbox is situated. Now that this is done, we are going to use the fill handle and click and drag this to the last cell of this data set. And now we have copied the checkbox to all other cells that relate to this data that we have here. Now let's move back to the beginning of this data set. In the first cell under the paid or unpaid option, when I click on this checkbox, you see that there's a tick mark in this checkbox, and when I click, it is unchecked. Now when I click on this checkbox, nothing happens, and if I click in its cell, there is nothing shown here, because you should know that anytime you select a cell, whatever content that is displayed in that cell should be available in the formula bar. And since I click on this, nothing happens, and by default, anytime you click on the checkbox, it displays a true argument in its linked cell. And when you uncheck the box, that is also going to display the false argument in its linked cell. Now this checkbox has not been linked to any cell in this worksheet, so we are going to do that, and that is what I have posted on my channel previously on how to use checkboxes to create an interactivity in your data set in Microsoft Excel. So what we can do is to hold the control key and click on this checkbox, and this select this checkbox. Then the next option is to right click, then you move to format control. You get this beautiful dialog box. This checkbox is unchecked, so we have it in this dialog box, and I'm going to click in this cell and link this checkbox to a cell. And what I want us to do is we are going to start that linked cell below the paid and unpaid option. So what I will do is to get to know the location of this cell, and that is column G and then row 3. So this is the cell I want to link, and that is G3. After that, you click on the OK button. Now this cell is linked to the checkbox, so when I click here, you see nothing. But if I check this box, you see that we have a true option. When I click on this, this is also another checkbox, but there's nothing displayed in its cell. So if I want to let this also work, Then I have to link this checkbox to its cell. So what I'll do is I'm going to link this checkbox to J4. So we select this checkbox by holding the control key. Then I'm going to right click, go to format control, select this and choose J4 and click on OK. Now when I come back to this interface, I have 2 options given to these checkboxes. When I click on the third one, nothing happens. But if I click on the first one, it changes from true to false, and the second one also changes to false. So this is how to insert a checkbox and link all your individual checkboxes to their linked cells. And this was the complication that brought the suggestion from our Cherries viewer that says, can we have another way of linking these cells at once without linking them individually? And I prompted him that we are going to have a video on that. Now if I want to get the status of this output argument based on the checked or the unchecked option of this individual checkboxes, then I'm going to select this cell. And before we move to our operation that is going to help us to get these cells linked to all the checkboxes at once, I want to get the output of these 2 options. I am going to use the if command to make this manipulation, and that is going to help us to get our yes or no option under the status column. So I'm going to type the equal to sign and the if command, and then we are going to look up to our logical text, that is our standpoint or our pinpoint that we are going to base on. That is going to help us to get the output, and this logical test is going to base on all the arguments, that is the false or the true argument that is going to appear in the paid or the unpaid option, that is the column we have here. So our logical text is going to base of this first cell, which has a cell reference J3. So I'm going to type J3 and then bring my equal to sign. So if J3 is equal to true, then it should give us a yes option, and because the yes is a text, I am going to put that into a quotation mark, then bring my comma. And if J3 is not equal to true, then it should give us a no option. Now let's close the quotation mark and hit the enter key. Now we have no in this field. I'm going to select and double click. This is going to fill down to the last cell. Now we have no for all the cell, but if I choose this changes to yes, and this also changes to yes. But when I click on these other checkboxes, nothing happens in these cells. Why? Because we have not linked these checkboxes to their individual cells. So let's assume that we have 50 to 100 or 20 data, then you have to take your time and link them individually. This is what has been a complication, and that has brought a suggestion from our Cherries viewer that if you can have any other means or ways to get these checkboxes all at once linked to their individual cells. And this is what we are going to experiment in this particular video. But before then, let me introduce you to this special website of this special company known as Ronking's Power Electronics and Circuit Buildup. This company has a lot of services to be provided to you as a client. When you scroll down, we have these options here. They provide creative ideas, high quality service, fast delivery service, and also a 24/7 support service. And when you move down a bit, they have this description, that is, we are Ronking Power Electronics and Custom build apps, choose the best handyman in the city. So they are very reliable. If you want to explore in electronic systems or gadgets, I believe this is the best site you have to visit and contact them and have your work done peacefully. Or if you want to learn more and have some educational knowledge about electronics, this site or this company is the best I will recommend to you. When you scroll down, they have their featured service. They provide all exclusive and premium service for clients where electronics designs engineering are needed. You can navigate through this site and then click on individual links and read more about this site and get contact with this special company. Some of their works are, as you can see, they have a very good and quality service, and everything is based on pure practical. And as you can see, these are some of the testimonials that has been appreciated by these clients, so you can read through. Now let's move to the beginning of this website. When you click on the about option, they have this description. We know that electrical and electronic engineering can be a challenging field, but don't let that discourage you. Every obstacle you encounter is an opportunity to learn and grow. So this is a description that describe them or describe their company. So you can move down and know some of their mission and vision, and you should take your time and read through, meet their awesome team that provide good services to you. So I believe that you should walk through this site and then go to the contact tab, and you're going to have this interface. You input your name, your email, your message, and submit. They'll get access to you, and whatever question you have or any contact you want to have with them, you can do so, and they are very responsive. They'll give you a quick response, and you have your electronic system built up, or if you want to learn with them, you can do so. So I recommend Ronking's Power Electronics and Custom Builds. Now you are welcome back to this particular video. So if you want all these options under the status to vary or change, then we have to link all the other checkboxes to their individual cells, and that is going to be a time consuming process. So let's see how we can have a different way to make this happen as compared to what I have illustrated in my short video on my channel. But I still urge you to check that video in the description below. Now before I move to the most important part of this particular video, I want to make these options stand out. Anytime yes is opt out, I want it to have a fill background of green, then the text is going to have a font color of white. And when it comes to the no option, I want it to have a fill background of red, then the text also have a white color. So now that these cells are selected, I'll move to the home tab on the menu bar, and in the ribbon of the home tab we have the styles group, and I'm going to choose the first option, which is conditional formatting. Click on it, and then I'm going to choose new rule. Now in this new rule we have this beautiful dialog box, and we have so many options under the select rule type, and I'm going to choose format only cells that contain, so I'm going to choose this second option. And then we have this dialog box change that gives us the option to have a control over our data in our worksheet. And I'm going to set my argument here, and the first field that we have here is cell value. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow. Make sure that this is set to specific text. Then we have this field change, and now we have containing. So when you look at containing, I'm going to make sure that it is set to containing. So you click on the drop down arrow and choose containing. Then when you come back to this, we are going to put our specific text in this field. So I'm going to type the yes. Now when we have yes in our cells, then we should format this by going to this format command. Then you have this format cells dialog box. I'm going to choose the fill option and then choose this green command. Then I'll move back to the font color tab and choose white for the text, and then click on OK, and then click on OK. Now when we come back to our worksheet, you can see that this yes option has the fill background of green and the font color is white. If I choose this, it changes to no, and we don't have any fill background and also a font of white color given to the no option. So as these cells are selected, we move back to the home tab, and in the conditional formatting option we choose new rule, and then choose the second option, change this to specific text, type no, and then click on format, choose fill, and then I'm going to choose this red color. Go back to the font color tab, choose white, and then click on OK, and also OK. Now when we come back, you can see that all these cells that consist of no has a background of red color and also a white color for the font type of the text. So if I click on this, I have red given to the no, and when I choose this, I have green. Now these ones are not working or operating because we have not linked them, and if we try to link them individually, that's going to be a time consuming. So this is what we are going to experiment, our simple tip that can help us to have this done. Now we are going to explore the Visual Basic for application in Microsoft Excel, that is shortened as VBA. We are going to use that beautiful command line editor interface to have this done perfectly for us. So I'm going to show you two ways you can get access to the VBA. The first option is to right click on the selected worksheet in which we want to manipulate, and then choose view code, and this brings out this particular interface. The next option is to hold the Alt key and then F11 on the keyboard. This quickly jumps you to the VBA for applications of Microsoft Excel, and here is where we are going to have our simple code and also make this automatic work done perfectly for us. So you need not to memorize this particular code. You can just write it down. Anytime you want to have this operation done, you can easily type that code into the VBA editor. I'm going to expand this a little bit. Now make sure that this is set to general. When I click on the drop down arrow, we have general and worksheet. I want to choose general. Now that general is selected, you click in the editor to have our cursor blinking. The first code we are going to type is SAP link checklist. Then you open and close your bracket. Now let's hit the enter key. So SAP means to have or to stand at the beginning of a command line, or that is the SAP procedure we want to utilize to write a simple code. So you can see that we have SAP and what we typed, and we also have end SAP. So in between these two commands, we are going to write our simple code so that we have our operation done perfectly. Let's press the enter key so that we can have a better view of whatever code we are going to type in this editor. The next command is to type dim check as checkboxes. So this is our second command, that is dim check as checkbox. Now we are moving to our next command. Type for each So our next command is for each check, that is the CHK. In our second line, we said we should dim CHK as checkbox. So any checkbox that we have in our worksheet, so we assume that the CHK represents the checkbox. So the active worksheet we have in our workbook has so many checkboxes that we have inserted. Therefore, for each of these checkboxes, we relate it to the CHK. Now, since this is explained, in our next command, we are going to press the tab key. Then we type this command. And as you are typing some command, if this program is able to use its catching element, it can bring out some option. If you are familiar with it, you can choose any of the drop down list, and the first option is linked cell, and that is what I want to type. So I'm going to press the tab key so that I can have this fully displayed in the command line. Then I bring my equal to sign, and I'm going to type top left cell. So I have the option selected. You press the tab key, and I'm also going to type another argument, that is offset, and that has also been shown in the drop down list. I'm going to press the tab key. Then I open my bracket, and when you do so, you have this screen tip that says offset, and we have row offset, and we have column offset as range. Now this offset is where you want to have your false or the true argument displayed whenever you click on the checkbox. So this particular argument is going to be displayed in a cell, and we all know that cells are the intersection of rows and columns, or columns or rows. So where do we want to have our true or false argument? And this particular offset option depends on how you've organized or rearrange your data in your worksheet. So I want to have my true or false starting from the first cell. When we move back to our worksheet, I want the offset to start from this particular cell that is below the paid or the unpaid option. So anytime we click on this first checkbox, we want the true option to display in this cell. Then it continues periodically. So what I'm going to do is, right now I'm going to unlink these cells. So I'm going to hold the control key and click, right click, and erase this particular cell reference, and click on OK. So now let's move to our Visual Basic for Application interface. So as I said, we are going to have this offset starting from where the first checkbox is situated under the paid or the unpaid option. So I don't want to move to any other cell, so I'm going to type 0 for the offset for the row offset, and bring my comma and type another 0 for the offsets for column. Why? Because I have some cells which are merged in row 1 and row 2, and in row 2 we have our column headers. So my real data is starting from row 3. That is why I'm using 0 for the row offset and also 0 for the column offset. Yours might be different depending on the organization of your data. So sometimes you might use some integers, that is 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2, or 0 minus 1, before you can get the right option that will match where your checkbox is starting from. So based on my data arrangement, I'm going to use row offset, that is 0, and also the column offset as 0. Now I'm going to close this bracket, then I type the dot symbol and type address, and I have the option displayed here. So I'm going to hit the tab key. Now I'm going to hit enter and then type next. So when you check these checkboxes, their linked cells should display an output of true or false argument. Now that we have this done, we can click on run, or we can press the F5 on the keyboard. Now let's close this. Now if I click on this checkbox, I have yes here. If I click, I have no. If I click, I have yes. All these cells are in the no option because we've not checked these cells. So if I click this, I have yes. Click, click, and this is easily done in a beautiful way. And please let me prompt you once again, this might be different from yours because of the data arrangement in your worksheet. So looking at your data arrangement, you need to play with the command, the offset, by changing the numbers. That is going to suit your reference. The reason why I am prompting you in this particular option is if you don't play with the offset option, you might have your true or false argument displayed in other cells. I'll take my time to illustrate this to you. So let's move back to our VBA editor. Now in this command line, I'm going to change this to 2 and press the F5 on the keyboard. Now I'm going to close this. If I move back to my Microsoft Webbook interface, you can see that this true has been displayed here, and it is in line with this previous true or false argument. So anytime you change the integer, it also changes the position where your true or false are going to be displayed. So you have to look up to that based on your data arrangement. I wanted to have my true or false displayed in the cells where the checkboxes are activated. So I'll move back to this and delete, and I'm going back to change my commands. So I'm going to select my worksheet and change this back to 0. Press F5, close this, and close this window. Now when I click, I have true and the yes is activated. Click, click. So you see how this is beautifully done, that we have at once linked all the checkboxes to their individual cells, or the cells in which we want to have our true or false argument displayed. Now let me show you a simple trick here. Anytime we click, we see the true or the false argument. What I want us to do is to make these texts invisible. So what we can do is to click in a cell, hold the shift key and the down arrow key to select all these cells. Now let's move to the home tab, and in the font group we are going to change this font color to white so that this will be invisible. Now we have this data set available. We have our employee ID, name, wage worked, and salary. So if at a point in time in a company we want to identify those who are paid or not paid, we can use these checkboxes. And when you click, so let's assume that this particular employee has been paid, then we check this checkbox, and that is going to display a yes option that signifies that this particular employee has been paid. So this is how to link all your checkboxes to individual cells in your worksheet. And please, if this video is of helpful, give it a like, share, comment, and also subscribe for more content. Thank you, and we shall meet in the next tutorial.